And Bakole say, show him. I catch him with a beautiful left hand. And I shake his head and legs, so everyone was quiet in the gym. They stopped a little bit hazy, and they recover again, we start again sparring.
So it lit the fire when he came for you.
I only use left.
Well, he sparred each and every one of them and held his own all the time. Stopped 2 seconds sparring. Why would he not think he could beat him?
Boxing pros gone crazy after Martin Bakole leaks his sparring with Conor Benn. Bakole didn't just control those sessions, he dropped Conor in sparring, leaving the young fighter exposed. For insiders, that's a brutal red flag. Getting put down behind closed doors raises serious questions about Benn's chin, resilience, and readiness for elite opposition.
To spar against those two.
Yeah, that is a mistake I made, and I regret that, so I can't do that anymore because I give them hard time in the sparring. All top guys out there.
And if that wasn't enough drama, Bakole doubled down, insisting his story was the absolute truth. Bakole stands firm, insisting his claim of dropping Conor Benn in sparring is nothing but the truth. The fact he was even ready to post footage shows his confidence. When a heavyweight talks this openly, fans take notice, and suddenly Benn's reputation inside the gym looks badly shaken.
True. And because when you go to spar someone in the gym, so you're not allowed to record it, because if I was allowed, I was going to pause the video. And I'm happy because nobody can say that I'm lying, so it's true. And I don't lie because I need a fight.
Billy Nelson highlights what makes Bakole dangerous. He forces opponents into real battles even in sparring. Those hard-working rounds aren't just physical, they're mentally draining too. For Conor Benn, that kind of pressure is exposing, reminding fans he's still far from proving himself against seasoned, elite-level opposition.
And he has the one that he knows he's going to get the rounds off of, hard working rounds, and that's the Martin Bakole's of this world. So you can't just go in, or certainly go in and spar against guys that you're just going to beat up all the time, because you get nothing off it. You need to get mentally sharp as well as physically sharp in sparring.
Frank Warren then voiced his own strong opinion on the controversy surrounding Bakole's leaked sparring. Frank Warren pulls no punches, condemning Bakole for breaking the code of the gym. For Warren, exposing sparring sessions is out of order, no matter how dramatic. Still, the damage is done, and Conor Benn's name being dragged through these claims is exactly the kind of noise he didn't need.
You can get extracts from any fight, any sparring. Someone lands a punch and you show it. For Martin Bakole to do that is a bit of a shit thing to do, and for him to do that is wrong. Sparring. I mean, I've got stuff sent to me from fighters that I'm involved with, which I could put out where they've knocked people, big names out, knocked them out. But I won't put it out there because it's wrong to do that, because it's sparring. It's private and confidential.
Johnny Nelson admits what stood out most was Conor Benn's sheer confidence. Even against seasoned names, Benn was eager to impose himself. But confidence alone can't erase questions raised by Bakole's story. Fans see fire in Benn, yes, but many wonder if that fire burns hotter than his actual ability.
That's what probably surprised, probably what surprised me more than anything was the confidence that he had. He was getting it with me. I was world champion at that point, and this young man came in and he really just tried to.
Derek Chisora puts things into perspective, reminding everyone that sparring is a place to learn, not to build reputations. His words carry weight because even top names like Usyk have been known to hit the canvas in training. For Chisora, getting dropped isn't shameful. It's part of the process of sharpening skills and preparing for the real fight. But while that rings true in boxing circles, fans are looking at this case differently. Conor Benn isn't just any fighter. He's a man under heavy scrutiny, with pressure mounting after every rumor. When Bakole claims to have dropped him, it adds fuel to the narrative that Benn may not be ready for elite-level punishment. Chisora says it's fine, but in the eyes of critics, every fall is ammunition to question Benn's durability and mental toughness going forward.
It's good because that's only sparring. If you get dropped in sparring, it means you're learning. Tomorrow morning you don't get dropped in the same shot. So him getting dropped in sparring, that means he's learning on the job, so it's okay. Who cares? Alexander usually gets dropped in sparring, but he's learning on the
Michael Hunter didn't hold back either, making an even bolder claim about those sparring sessions. Michael Hunter goes all in, bluntly declaring that Martin Bakole flat out knocked Conor Benn out in sparring, and even credits him for copying his own moves to do it. That's the kind of claim that turns whispers into headlines. Getting dropped in sparring is one thing, but being knocked out is on another level entirely. For Benn, the difference is devastating. A drop can be brushed off as part of training. A knockout, however, carries a stigma that fighters hate to be associated with, especially outside of fight night. Hunter's statement amplifies the narrative that Benn isn't equipped to handle big, strong opposition. Fans already questioning his chin now have even more reason to doubt his ability to stand firm against true power punchers. Whether true or exaggerated, Hunter's words pour petrol on a fire that's already burning brightly.
He knocked him out. He actually used my moves to knock him out. No, the big tall white guy. He knocked out.
Shannon Briggs takes a more forgiving stance, suggesting that even the best fighters have tasted the canvas in training. He admits he himself has been down in sparring, dismissing it as part of the grind. But while his tone is casual, the underlying message hits hard. Benn's name keeps coming up in stories of being dropped, and when it happens repeatedly, fans begin to connect dots. Briggs tries to soften the blow by normalizing the experience, framing it as no big deal, but boxing supporters are less sympathetic. They see a fighter who time after time is linked with vulnerability rather than dominance. For a man chasing respect at world level, it's not the image Benn wants attached to his name. The fight Briggs talks about will be crucial because only under the lights can Benn silence these rumors.
I'm hearing things that he's been dropped in the ring, in the gym and stuff like that. But that's okay too, because I took a couple spills, little slips in the ring and the gym. That's okay, but we're gonna see. This is gonna be a good.
Conor Benn himself then admitted where things went wrong, giving a rare glimpse into his own mindset. Conor Benn admits his own downfall: greed. His confession reveals that once he tasted success in the third round, discipline slipped away and he hunted for the knockout instead of following the plan. That kind of honesty is rare, but it also exposes a deeper issue. Benn's impatience, his over-reliance on power shots, and his belief that he's always one punch away are exactly the traits seasoned pros exploit. When fans hear this, they don't just see a fighter learning, they see a fighter who hasn't yet mastered control under pressure. Against big, experienced opponents, that weakness could prove fatal. This is why sparring stories matter. They highlight the habits and cracks that surface when the lights are off. Benn's own words show a man chasing validation, but still struggling to balance aggression with discipline.
Too greedy in there, looking for the headshots. Game plan went out the window as soon as I hit him in the third round. It was a matter of, it felt like I was always one punch away from closing the show. And I was looking for that one punch,
Duke McKenzie shifts the focus away from sparring drama and back to the bigger picture, the spectacle itself. His words underline a crucial truth. Boxing isn't only about what happens inside the ropes. It's about the atmosphere, the event, the draw. McKenzie praises the scale of the night, making it clear that the buzz around Conor Benn isn't dying down, regardless of whispers about sparring. For Benn, this is both a blessing and a curse. Yes, he commands attention, but the spotlight also magnifies every flaw, every rumor, every doubt. McKenzie calls the fight a success, but for Benn, success must be measured differently, by winning and proving himself against the kind of opponents people believe can expose him. The crowds will always come, the tickets will always sell, but the real question is whether Benn can rise to the challenge and meet the expectations placed on his shoulders. Spectacle alone won't save him when the bell rings.
Like I say, the fight wasn't a letdown because it was a good fight, but as an event, you won't get a better event than that, and they'll have to go some actually to surpass that, or even equal that. Let's just hope they get the same turnout in terms of the numbers, people going through the live gate and watching that fight, because it was a great event. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. You won't get world title fights that actually are a better event.
Eddie Hearn, ever the straight talker, gets to the heart of Benn's problem: recklessness. He acknowledges Benn's courage and sheer willpower, but stresses that heart alone won't get the job done. Ben has a tendency to wing punches, fighting on emotion rather than calculated precision. That makes him exciting, yes, but it also makes him vulnerable. Against seasoned opponents, a head-down brawler can be picked apart by a technician or bullied by a bigger man who knows how to close the distance. Hearn's message is clear. Ben has the tools, but he must temper aggression with intelligence. UK fans love Ben's rawness, but the elite don't hand out victories for bravery. They exploit mistakes. For Hearn, this fight isn't about proving Ben's heart, it's about showing growth. Can Conor Benn evolve from a fiery puncher into a disciplined thinking fighter? That's the leap that determines whether he belongs among the world's best or remains a reckless crowd pleaser.
No, Conor Benn's Conor Benn. But I want him just to be a little bit smarter. We can't, like Nigel said, he's just winging away. And the heart's great, the balls are great, but you can outbox this guy as well. You're going to have to stand and fight because he's going to try and walk you down and be the bigger man. But just be a little bit smart with it.
Carl Froch then cut through the noise, bluntly framing the stakes from a very different angle. Carl Froch, always the realist, strips the romance out of the equation. For him, this isn't about boxing's grand legacy, it's about personal pride and prize money. Froch sees the fight as one driven by the fighter's own needs. Conor Benn, desperate to overturn his previous loss, wants redemption. Chris Eubank Jr., equally determined, seeks to prove dominance by repeating the result and leaving no doubt. For Froch, the narrative isn't about the fans or the sport, it's about two men protecting their names while cashing in, and he isn't wrong. Prize fighting has always been about business as much as glory, but in Benn's case, the business intersects with survival. If he loses again, his marketability takes a serious hit. For Eubank, victory means leverage, pride, and control of the storyline. Froch's brutal honesty cuts through all the hype. At the end of the day, reputations are at stake, but so is the payday, and that's boxing.
For me, it's a fight that probably means a lot less for boxing than what it does for the actual fighters. You know, the fighters, for them, there's a lot at stake. Conor Benn wants to overturn the decision, and Chris Eubank wants to cement the decision, say they've done it twice. Bottom line is they're making big bunts, aren't they? Big dollar, and they might as well make money. These are prize fighters. We can't begrudge them making money fighting because that's what they do. That's why they get.
Barry Jones delivers perhaps the most sobering assessment. This fight, no matter how it unfolds, is dangerous for Conor Benn. He points out that the first clash was punishing, and the rematch will be no different. Boxing isn't always about the highlight reel. Sometimes it's about enduring the grind, and Jones questions whether Benn has the resilience to thrive in such a war. He bluntly leans toward Eubank Jr. as the favorite again, reminding everyone that history and skill set can't be ignored. For Benn, this is the harsh reality. The risks outweigh the rewards. If he loses badly, his reputation suffers even more. If he wins narrowly, critics will still question whether he truly belongs at the top. Jones's tone carries the concern of someone who's seen fighters take one hard night too many. For him, Benn stands on dangerous ground. This fight could make him, but it could just as easily break him.
So this fight can only harm him. Because that was a hard fight, the first one. This one will be another hard fight, whoever wins, unless there's a real freak occurrence, not a freak occurrence, unless someone gets caught with the shot really early, then it's going to be a hard night, which you still have to make Eubank the favourite again, like I did the first time. I mean, so
This rematch isn't just about punches, it's about pride, legacy, and survival. For Chris Eubank Jr., victory cements his authority, proving the first fight was no fluke. For Conor Benn, however, the stakes couldn't be higher. A loss here doesn't just dent his record, it shatters his credibility at world level. Fans want fireworks, but they also want answers. Is Benn truly built for this stage, or is he all heart with little discipline? Meanwhile, Eubank carries himself like a man who's been here before, calm under the lights, ready to break Benn again. When the bell rings, reputations will be rewritten. One man leaves with momentum, the other with questions that may never fade. Who are you backing? Eubank's experience or Benn's redemption story? Drop your predictions in the comments below.